Chiropractic can seem like a strange profession from the outside looking in. Why can you see two chiropractors within a mile of each other and have a completely different experience? My name is Dr. Grant Lisetor, and I'm a chiropractor. Today, my aim is to give you the inside scoop into the profession of chiropractic. We'll dig in and get started in 10 seconds. Let's go. Hi, I'm Dr. Grant, and today we will be shining some light into what can be a confusing question. What is chiropractic? Please bear in mind that this is my personal opinion based upon my many years involved in the profession. If you're watching this video, you have likely seen other videos of chiropractors putting mics on people as they adjust them so everyone can hear the audible crack up close and personal. You have probably also seen the cringe-worthy Y-strap videos where a strap is put around someone's head and the chiropractor yokes as hard on the strap to move what sounds like every bone in their body. Oh. I have been a practicing chiropractor for nearly a decade, and I've seen some of the strangest things imaginable placed under the umbrella of chiropractic care.
Have you ever had a chiropractic adjustment? Let's do it! Okay, I'll give it a shot.
It's no wonder that so many people are confused about what chiropractic care is. Joe Rogan, on one of his podcasts, accused the foundation of chiropractic to be based on the occult. There have been many other famous influencers that have made statements either for or against chiropractic. Most professional athletes, including Emmett Smith, Jerry Rice, and Tony Gonzalez, are big advocates of chiropractic care. Ideas similar to chiropractic can be dated back to Egyptian times.
Walk like an Egyptian.
But modern chiropractic was formally discovered on September 18th, 1895 by a man named Dr. D.D. Palmer. Dr. Palmer was experimenting with magnetic healing. Bear in mind, in those days, many doctors were experimenting with various treatments that sound kind of odd to us today. Some common practices were using arsenic or mercury to treat venereal disease, and a combination of alcohol and chloroform to treat colic. So magnetic healing wasn't too crazy at that point. Dr. Palmer met a janitor that worked in his building that lost his hearing after a head injury 18 years prior. Dr. Palmer found a misplaced bone, and he said his aim was to replace the misplaced bone. Once this was done, the deaf man said he could hear the streetcars outside again. That is how chiropractic was born. As we go deeper into chiropractic today, I think it's prudent to discuss what chiropractic is not. Chiropractic is not the same as the practice of medicine. In the early 1900s, chiropractors were being arrested for practicing medicine without a license. But the profession fought and protested, explaining what we do is separate and distinct from the practice of medicine. The American Medical Association then went on to launch what they termed an anti-quackery campaign, which went on for decades until in 1989, the American Medical Association lost an antitrust lawsuit for trying to limit and extinguish the profession of chiropractic. As a chiropractor, I have never wanted to practice medicine or be a medical doctor. If that was my desire, I would have gone to medical school. Chiropractic care is also often confused with physical therapy. This is largely due to what is termed the Mercedes 80s. In the 1980s, chiropractic care started to be covered by health insurance with very little limitation. Chiropractors began to take advantage of this and started to incorporate additional therapies into their practices. If they billed for it, insurance would pay for it. There were treatments like rehabilitative exercises, TENS machines, diathermy, roller beds, hot packs, cold packs, and some stranger things like foot baths that supposedly would pull toxins from your feet, and colonic irrigation to flush your colon for supposed health benefits. This has continued to evolve into chiropractors using lasers, red light therapy, and a newer trend called soft wave therapy. And while these treatments may have some level of legitimacy, doctors of physical therapy are the healthcare professionals expertly trained to use these devices, knowing both when and when not to use them. The use of them in chiropractic is often focused on driving up the cost of the visit. I have sat into insurance billing seminars for continuing education where the best insurance billing codes for the highest reimbursement of these therapies was the prime topic. Going through chiropractic school, I had to take 2 courses in physical therapy, which qualified me to sit for a physical therapy board exam. Passing this board exam allows chiropractors to legally perform these therapies, but the legal ability is not the same as expertise. So after 3 decades of putting up with the profession of chiropractic bastardizing the profession of physical therapy, physical therapists started taking action of their own, but it wasn't the ideal course of action. They began to practice what they termed joint mobilization or spinal manipulation, and they compare it to a chiropractic adjustment. Ultimately, the collateral damage of all of this is the patients whose care is supposed to be our top priority. Healthcare professionals need to stay in their lane of expertise. Operating outside of our unique focus is driving up the cost of healthcare, reducing access to care, and negatively impacting patient results. If you need physical therapy, see a physical therapist. If a physical therapist tries to mobilize or manipulate you, get out of there. If a chiropractor tries to hook you up to a bunch of therapies, get out of there too. There are a lot of different techniques inside of the profession of chiropractic, which can also create some confusion. They can all be divided into 2 categories, and most have some level of overlap. So we have tonal and structural. Structural techniques are classically what people see when they think of chiropractic, and what most viral chiropractic videos on YouTube demonstrate, with a bunch of popping and cracking.
Well, I just got back from jumping the Mayan pyramids. It was a closed circuit, pay-per-view. I'd like you to meet my chiropractor, Dr. Jack Earhart.
Jack Earhart, hey there.
Oh! Yeah, I need this guy with me all the time now. When you hold as many jump records as I do, you wind up with more screws and bolts in you than the Golden Gate Bridge.
He really should retire.
Doc, you know, I think I'm walking on a screw.
In your shoe?
In my foot. Probably fell out of my ankle.
The tonal techniques don't really look like much is happening if you see it being done, but they are just as impactful. As a chiropractor certified in pediatric chiropractic, I see a lot of children with autism. In most cases, we start with tonal techniques because we don't want to put a big force into their already overstimulated nervous system. The one thing I have found to be the key difference between a run-of-the-mill chiropractor and a high-level chiropractor is their exam and analysis. The run-of-the-mill chiropractors are satisfied with finding stuck joints that don't move well and get them to move again. The extraordinary chiropractors have a detailed analysis to determine what is called the central integrative state of the nervous system. They are able to determine the exact force and location that needs to be applied to the body to improve the function of the nervous system. After all, a 5-year-old kid can walk on daddy's back and move a bunch of bones. A chiropractic adjustment, on the other hand, is specific or it's nothing. The profession of chiropractic was founded on the premise that the nervous system coordinates and controls every function of the human body. The spine is designed to protect that delicate nervous system, but if spinal bones become misaligned, they will create neurological tension. The technical term for this is called a vertebral subluxation complex, or subluxation for short. A subluxation creates dysfunction and eventual disease. Some chiropractors have been accused of advertising or saying they can cure disease by correcting subluxation. In the current world of symptom-based research, there's a large body of evidence to show subluxation-based chiropractic care can help with a wide array of symptoms. But the intent of chiropractic has never been to cure anything. Our only aim is to locate and correct vertebral subluxation so the body can heal itself without interference to the master control center. If you're cooking dinner and you cut your finger by accident, you can rub some peroxide or neosporin on that cut finger, put a Band-Aid on it, and in a couple of days, the cut's healed. If you go to the morgue and cut a dead man's finger, put some peroxide or neosporin on it, put a Band-Aid on it, the cut on the dead man's finger will never heal.
Oh, it's alive! It's alive! It's alive! It's alive!
The innate healing force inside of the living body is smarter and more effective than any man or drug. Chiropractors are not healers. We remove the interference and let your body do what it is designed to do. What I found to be the most interesting part of chiropractic in my years in the profession is the internal politics within the profession. The camp that has been labeled subluxation-based or principled really focuses on one thing that chiropractors are uniquely trained in. That is the location and correction of subluxation. The other camp that has been termed mixers or subluxation deniers. This camp fights hard for chiropractors to be essentially physical therapists. In response to their ethics being questioned, they have picked up the argument that the American Medical Association started in their anti-quackery campaign, saying that subluxation isn't a known entity. Both sides have fought on state and federal levels to get support for their viewpoint. The mixers fight for a broad scope of practice that allows them to perform not only therapies, but in some states, this goes as far as performing rectal and vaginal exams. The principled side is fighting for a narrowed scope of practice that keeps the cost of care down and keeps chiropractic care in the lane it was originally intended to be in. This is elevated to the point that there are chiropractic schools that base their entire curriculum on principled or mixer paradigms. The school your chiropractor graduated from is a factor in how they practice. With the infighting of the profession, it has created confusion for the general public, probably more than the American Medical Association ever did. This infighting is not unique to the profession of chiropractic, but doctors classically set the ethical bar in any society. Doctors are people and are not immune from the shortcomings that are part of the human condition, including the temptation to choose an easy path to making more money. If you want to know more about the history of the profession, more about the different chiropractic colleges, or just want to comment about the strange things you have seen chiropractors do, please drop us a line below. I hope this has offered some inside perspective into chiropractic and helped clarify potential questions you have had. Until next time, I'm Dr. Grant, and here is to your greater life.